tweeted about 5 long tweets. They're not short 140 character, 240 characters. They are long ones. But I've been doing it on selected critical topics in which the last 10 years, the finance ministry has made a big difference. And we think some milestone achievements have been reached. In that, the one which is today speaks about the changes that we've brought about in the budgeting process and also in the very way in which the budget is made and the speech. In all this, 2 highlighted points are transparency and efficient and effective ways of using taxpayers' money. So the aim has been that the budget has to be a transparent and credible statement. I'm not suggesting earlier budgets were not credible. I'm suggesting that it has to be completely transparent and completely speak for itself. So it cannot be that I've borrowed money, but I've not shown it in the budget statement and I've kept it somewhere else. So every activity of the finance ministry, which forms a part of the financial statement, will have to be explicitly shown. So for that, we've taken a lot of steps, brought every extra out of the budget borrowing also onto board, onto the budget. And therefore, what you see in the budget is what is actually happening in the finance ministry. That's one. And second, language is something on which I'm very keen to highlight. The budget, when read out, or as it is being read out, sometimes goes beyond a citizen. He thinks, oh, it's all technical, we don't need to hear it, but tell me what is the tax on me? And that's the limited extent to which he's. But we wanted to make sure that every citizen is able to understand what is being read out. So the bureaucratic roundabout way of things, saying things are all cut down, and it's a sharp reading out of the statement, and therefore anyone can understand, anyone can take points out of it. But the second point that has to be highlighted, which I've started saying it, is money that is taken as tax will have to be timely used properly, and shown that it is being used. So that is the transparency with which we use, efficiency with which we use, and as a result of which, what are the steps that I've taken to show that taxpayers' money is being used. That is why today's set of 2 tweets, 5 long tweets, go into the details of what has happened in the 10 years, that India's budgetary process is now lots more transparent and accounts for efficient use of every rupee collected.
I particularly like the fiscal prudence part, and I'll come to that in a bit. You've been traveling across the country. You were in Maharashtra, you went to Kolkata, you're going to Punjab to campaign. Ma'am, when I talk to the BJP people, they are very optimistic about Odisha, Bengal, and Telangana. The opposition seems quite hopeful about Maharashtra and Bihar. What is your assessment of the elections 2024?
Prime Minister Modi is forming the third government, third time, with good majority. There's no doubt. The alliance, the opposition alliance, the Indy alliance, is making a lot of statements as it is, with a sense that they're not winning, but also probably, and I'm able to smell this, or I'm able to get a feeling of it. You may ask me for proof, it might be difficult and it might be circuitous in the way in which I can explain it, but nevertheless, it is there. And the people with whom I am talking, politically neutral people, also think the India alliance is now starting to undertake an exercise, as it were, to deny victory to Prime Minister Modi. Meaning, he'll win, seats are going to be declared out, and then we'll form the government. But they would want to raise questions about the Election Commission, EVM, the process, data not being released. The toolkit of the India alliance is now activated to say, is this win all right? Or are there questions about this win? I see an attempt very clearly that they are sore and bad losers. They're going to lose, no doubt. And it's not the business of the ruling party to make an effective opposition campaign, which is, aar paar ka takkar, as they say in Hindi. It's not our business. We'll go about doing our campaign. If your campaign, if you as an opposition is able to fight this election effectively, fight it out. And if you're able to win, very well. But at the moment, my feeling is, or the sense that I'm getting is, all kinds of handles in the social media and all kinds of speeches are now aiming at question this victory itself, which is what sour grapes are all about.
Okay. That's very interesting, ma'am. And when Rahul Gandhi keeps talking about unemployment and price rise as the most important issues this election, in fact, he said that unemployment in India is worse than Pakistan. How do you look at such kind of blanket criticism, and how fair do you think such kind of assessment even is?
See, it is one thing to criticize. It's one thing to criticize with some data at least. But if the criticism, and in this particular one, if the criticism is to downplay India's achievements and to constantly underrate our performance, it stands out as a campaign in poor taste. And I'll not hesitate to say that the Congress party, particularly Sri Rahul Gandhi, constantly is on undermine Indian people's achievements, berate it, and also question good solid work which has been done. You don't need to give the credit to government. You can, as a typical opposition, you can always stand up and say, no, we could have done it better. This is not the way to do about it. Our alternative is this. This is what we offer people of India. I fully will listen to him and take him seriously to even work out a reply. But if the sense is, I will, even at the cost of underrating our achievements, undermining people of India's own work, I will speak in such a way that people can have a shock value. You know, the impact that audience who listen to him is shock, saying, is this what is happening? No. You know, it is to that level in their frustration they have gone, and this is one example of that level of frustration going wrong.
So, ma'am, you've been emphasizing a lot on responsibility of language, right? So, when we talk about this whole idea of wealth redistribution that Prime Minister has also lashed out against Rahul Gandhi for saying that it could be a danger for the fabric of the society,
right.
but Congress saying that this is critical to social justice. How feasible or realistic do you even think something like a wealth redistribution proposal is?
See, the wealth redistribution proposal as it appears, they can always be, ambiguous in saying, no, I didn't say that. Oh, where did I say that? Oh, did my manifesto speak about it? They can do all this. But they are clearly creating a myth of wealth redistribution in one form or the other, where you are clearly telling people who worked hard and earned their living, or therefore found some saving and kept something back for their families, that the state may have every right to take that away and give it off to people who they think should get it. Now, in all fairness, if your formulation is not clear, it can definitely lead to all kind of interpretations. Now, after that, if you accuse us saying, what kind of an interpretation? I didn't say that. Tell me where I've said it. Is it in my manifesto? Did I speak about it? It's a very defensive way of going about it. The idea that you will disincentivize or discourage people who have had legitimate earnings kept for rainy days to be taken off and given to others is just not acceptable. If that is the way in which it has to be done, you saw how in the last 60 years or 50 years of when Congress party was in rule, they have attempted to do things. 90% income tax, 90% of all your earning was going away. Did it eliminate poverty? Did it make the poor richer? So Congress party's confused ideological positions, which of late is very influenced by left extreme views, is just not the solution the Indian young aspiring class wants. They want to work hard, earn their way through, and also succeed in what they legitimately can do. If they scan the society, assess what they have, and redistribute is the position, people are not going to accept it, and they learn on 4th June.
Right. So linked question, madam. Congress party has also promised 1 lakh per household to every poor family, and similar benefits are also being promised by Aam Aadmi Party and of course TMC. We see Punjab elections also coming up. This competitive welfareism or populism, as a reporter, I've seen so many chief ministers, coming to meet you. What kind of consequences does that have on the fiscal health of a state?
If the state doesn't have enough resources on its own, or is not able to account for additional revenue generated, which could be diverted for such welfareism, it is definitely going to burden the future generations. We have at least 3 or 4 examples of states which have come up with such kind of welfare, very appealing promises, and when they go about implementing it, find that it is hard to get the necessary resources for it. As a result, money which should be otherwise going for development reasons are diverted because this is a promise on which they've won the election and come off. But equally, when there are projects which have to be completed, they borrow and borrow beyond the means of the state, and end of the day, leaving huge debts. Now, if your debts are for creating assets, you can at least be sure that it will bring earnings and the assets value will go up, and as a result, you can pay the debt back. But if the borrowing is more for only meeting with your revenue or committed expenditures, then the state is worse off. This principle is mostly understood by all states, but notwithstanding, they go about their work and finally blame the center because easily common people are not going to understand. They would think, oh, the state has given a promise, it has to fulfill it. Why not get the money from the center? Center's money doesn't get distributed as per the whims of the state. They go as per the recommendation given by the Finance Commission, which is a constitutionally provided body.
Ma'am, I know the time is very short. I would like to ask 2 questions, ek saath, one, at a time. The polling numbers have not been really great in some states. The dip is, large in some states, significant in some states like UP, Bihar, and of course Madhya Pradesh. And it's not, it's lower in south of India. Is that a worry for all political parties? But women seem to have really come out and vote. Phase 5 showed more women voting. Is that also the Sandesh Khali effect, at least when it comes to West Bengal?
Undoubtedly. In West Bengal, if it is Sandesh Khali, in West Bengal also, and in the rest of the country, women have seen benefits reach them. Women have seen schemes work for them. Women also keep what has already come to them as a deciding factor when they go to vote. And as a result, you find more of them coming almost as though giving a stamp of approval saying, you promised these, you've delivered on them, here are we now to vote for you. So women normally go by these considerations, and that is why you find their numbers more. But other thing is, when you look at the percentages in some states, the numbers stand somewhat showing that there can be a decline in the number of people who turned out for voting. But in absolute numbers, they stand out as being more. That is also because more voters are on the rolls and therefore absolute numbers are more, the percentage still being. The percentage being less in general means there is a certain level of indifference, which is not good. Irrespective of the party to which they would want to vote, voters should come. People of India should come to participate in this celebration of democracy. I understand the heat factor and also the long stretch of election, the 7 phased election process. All of them have worked on some people's mind. But I hope people do realize and come for voting.
My last question, ma'am. The share market, like Prime Minister has said, that it's going to hit a record high on the 4th of June. But we've also seen how volatile the behavior has been in the last few weeks. There's been movement from bank deposit to the market. What is your advice on this?
But in general, I think Indian stock market has had less volatility compared to the global markets. And the shift from, let's say, fixed deposit or post office saving to the retail investments, either through mutual funds or demat accounts directly, I think is a healthy trend, because people are now benefiting from the transparent ways in which companies, the listed companies, are disclosing their information. When they disclose the information, people do understand that well-governed companies are up there performing well and they can give good dividends. And as a result, even small investors, irrespective of the risk that the market poses, are coming in on the back of good information flow. It's a good trend. In fact, that has also served as a cushion when FPIs and FIIs flow out of India. There is no huge shock because these people are there to absorb the shock. It's a good, healthy trend and should continue.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman speaking on a host of issues from competitive populism to fiscal prudence with camera person Pawan and Pooja. This is Vasudha Venugopal for NDTV.